Never in my life did I think I would be making this video. I thought in the city of Los Angeles for sure that the election of Karen Bass would essentially sign, seal, and deliver the fate of Los Angeles, much in a similar way that Brandon Johnson's election in the city of Chicago has. And while Brandon Johnson has been worse than I could have possibly imagined, I have to give credit where credit is due. Karen Bass is actually going after criminals. Karen Bass is a significant improvement against the previous Democrat that occupied her office. Karen Bass is actually targeting homeless people, and in this video, we're going to talk about the fact that she is standing up to organized retail theft in the city of Los Angeles. And it seems like she's got a decent set of policies in terms of criminal justice, definitely for a Democrat, and we gotta give credit where credit is due. I gotta admit when I was wrong, when I'm wrong. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who signed up. actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
And thank you to the podcast listeners, Spotify, Apple, and Google's podcasting platform.
Hi there, Lou and Glenn. Well, this press conference today, they announced the formation of a new task force specifically targeting organized theft. Now, we heard from Mayor Karen Bass, and she says regardless of crime task force in the past, this one will be different.
So we've heard this story a million times. I've told it to you on this channel over and over and over again about these smash and grab organized retail thefts where 10 to 50 people will go into a store, steal hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise in a matter of minutes and get away scot-free. Then, when they're eventually arrested, we find out that California state law prohibits sending so-called non-violent offenders to prison, so they have to be diverted to county jail. County jails are overcrowded, so they get a slap on the wrist and they're out on the streets reoffending immediately. I mean, in New York, this has gotten so ridiculous. The police have actually arrested suspects, and then same day after their release from the precinct, they go on and loot another store, get arrested again, and then have done it again. And as we've talked about on this channel multiple times, it's the same people committing the crimes. In New York, it's 327 people that represent a third of all shoplifting arrests, which is about 6,000. And we have similar patterns across this country because the way that criminality works is that you have a group of criminals, and within that group, you have more criminal people, predators, super predators, whatever you want to call them, that continuously reoffend disproportionate even within the criminal population. Well, Karen Bass actually deciding to go after it. She's setting up an LAPD task force to target these people, and she somehow got Gascon, one of the worst prosecutors in the country, to pledge that he will prosecute them seriously.
These are not victimless crimes, especially in the case where Angelenos are attacked through force or fear. No Angeleno should feel like it is not safe to go shopping in Los Angeles.
So I gotta say, I love that she opened with this. I love that she opened with the fact that these are not victimless crimes, because this is often repeated by her very progressive base, people that voted for her. Very notably, recently we covered it on this channel by the H3 podcast, who not only labeled this with his crew victimless crimes.
There's no victim.
Right.
Really.
They got unless insurance. You called Gucci.
Yeah.
And I guess people got scared. But
it's scary.
It's scary.
It'd be scary, yeah, to be in there.
But also claimed that these people were in fact Aladdins, and not in the way that I always joke on this channel, quite literally.
If you have a good job, you're not doing this.
Nah.
You're just not doing it. That's my theory anyway. You know what I mean? Guys, and if you disagree, remember Aladdin, okay? Aladdin and his monkey.
Yep. And the bread.
They were stealing bread. Were they bad people?
No, they were not.
If you asked the street merchants, they were ready to chop his head off.
Right. But he had a heart of gold.
But Karen Bass, the progressive candidate who is running for mayor against the more conservative candidate in the city of Los Angeles, is not mincing words. She says these are not victimless crimes. She says that no Angeleno should have to fear shopping. She talks about the business owners, and she's never cared about business owners in her entire life. And I have to give credit where credit is due. You could say that maybe there is some hope, and yes, I'm going to play that clip from the Star Wars Rogue One trailer about rebellions being built on hope.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Now, I have to be honest, this is kind of damning with faint praise, because This is standard. This is logical. This is basic. But because the Democratic Party had gone so far post the Black Lives Matter riots, it's nice for them to come back to a center, something that makes sense, something that's logical, something that should not need to be stated, because they had gone that far in the city of Los Angeles. These thefts had gone that out of control. But the fact that she's saying these aren't victimless crimes, people shouldn't be afraid to shop. Entrepreneurs shouldn't be afraid to do business. They shouldn't be afraid to open. Los Angeles should be open for business, and we're going to find these people. We're dedicating a task force to it. We're going to track them down, and guess what? We're going to give them some accountability, something they haven't experienced in this city in years, because it's the right thing to do. We're going to punish these people. We're going to incapacitate them.
No entrepreneur should feel like it's not safe to open a business in Los Angeles. So to Angelenos, our message is clear. Those who commit these crimes will be caught, they will be held accountable, and we will work to address this issue.
And I'm 100% on board for Karen Bass leading the charge in this regard, because even though she's a Democrat, even though I definitely would prefer a better mayor than Karen Bass, the fact of the matter is I'm not going to look somebody in the eye who's moving towards me like they're some kind of pariah when they're actually going to try to do the right thing, or at least promising to try to do the right thing. We'll check this out in the future. We'll see how the theft numbers go down, but make no mistake, the arrests are already happening in the city of Los Angeles.
And during this press conference today, we also heard from the LAPD, the Sheriff's Department, and Glendale Police, all of them part of this task force, which kicked off officially last night. The focus will be to target organized retail theft, not only the people inside the stores robbing these establishments, but also those purchasing the luxury goods online.
So I just want to say real quick, and I do think this was a misspeak by the local news, it appears that they're actually targeting those who are selling the goods online, not just the purchasers, because if you're somebody who's buying a handbag off of eBay, you have no idea whether or not it's actually stolen or whether or not it's legitimately purchased and somebody's just selling it for extra cash. So I'm hoping, and by looking into this, it seems like it's the case that they meant to say the sellers, but I will put that asterisk out there that that is something that I don't think is going to be all that productive, because what you have to do is instill the fear of consequences against these people, so they have to seek a different avenue for this illegal profiteering. You have to cut them off, arrest them en masse. If there's 50 people looting a store, you need to get as close to 50 as possible and give them some serious jail time. And if they're repeat offenders, make sure the charges stick even more, because once you get that core group of repeat offenders off the streets, you're going to see giant decreases in retail theft in the city of Los Angeles, just like if they were to do this in the city of New York. And remember, that number is just 327 people in a city twice the size of Los Angeles in terms of population. So I'm imagining it's definitely a smaller group, but they still need to take care of it. And when they're in these crews, stop looking at this as some disorganized, spontaneous event. These crews, how fast they operate, how efficient they are, how quickly they target the high-end merchandise, are incredibly well organized. It may look brutish, it may look thuggish, but these are the most organized types of robberies. If somebody gets in and out of your business in under a minute with over $100,000 worth of merchandise, there is some planning and coordination in there that you're not accounting for when you just look at what looks like brutish animal-like behavior and destruction.
Glendale Police Chief Manny Sid saying today, announcing the arrest of a suspect tied to a smash and grab at the YSL store at the Americana at Brand last week. Thieves got away with $300,000 in merchandise and a very large group, more than 40 suspects. Also this week at a Gucci store in Costa Mesa, it was targeted. A group of 10 thieves wearing hoodies and masks stole more than $100,000 in items. Police say it's possible this specific crew is responsible for other robberies. The MO is consistent across the board. They form a large crew and target high-end shops. At a local Target store in LA, a crew of thieves are seen walking out of the store with bags and bags full of goods. Store security standing by, unable to compete with the size of the crew. So far, the Sheriff's Department saying today they've calculated more than 170 notable retail thefts in recent months, and they've made several dozen arrests.
So this is important to take note of, and I'm glad the police are saying it, and I'm glad the local news is covering it. This crew is a crew of repeat offenders. They're targeting high-end stores. They know exactly what they're doing, and it buttresses the point that I was just making about these people not being innocent, opportunistic Aladdins. They're actually organized criminals. Now, it needs to be made clear that you also have to go after the petty thieves that are doing it as a one-off, the homeless and all that. they need to be taken down too. The fact of the matter is, through a series of policies passed into the state of California, whether they be Prop 47 or that Assembly bill, I believe it's Assembly Bill 106 or 109, they have led themselves down a path, led themselves astray into a situation where people know that there's not going to be any consequences for this. Gascon, who's now pledging due to pressure from Karen Bass, I never thought this Soros-funded DA would pledge to prosecute these people, seems to be on board, but you have to keep the political pressure on this person, and when he drops charges, when he reduces charges, when he offers sweetheart plea deals that don't send them to prison, you have to be on him like white on rice in order to hold him to account. Gascon barely dodged a recall campaign. Signature verifications are what got him out of it. You need to have the pressure of an additional campaign against him, and you need to run a good candidate, because even though he's singing the right tune right now, I don't trust him going forward, especially when you see the numbers start to reduce. He's going to start to go back to that so-called reformist mindset, which in reality, in actuality, is the pro-criminal mindset, but it is a good sign that even these woke district attorneys, at least some of them, can fall prey to political pressure in order to change their policy goals. Now, I did talk about the fact that the LAPD is reducing in numbers. It was actually worse than I reported before. They're now down a net 10%. So you're going to have significant attitude changes and significant bolstering of recruiting in order to get the officers back up to snuff in terms of their numbers. But the thing is, this is a good sign that they're actually targeting criminals, going after them, and the community and even the progressives seem to be on the side of doing so.
Additionally, prosecuting these thieves will be a top priority, according to District Attorney George Gascon. This task force will also include 2 agents specifically focusing that these charges stick.
Again, that is incredibly crucial, and I have to give credit to Karen Bass, because normally you don't assign agents to make sure that the prosecutor can't downgrade the charges, but they have 2 people specifically making sure that the evidence gets delivered to Gascon so that these charges will stick. You have 2 people that sole focus is managing the prosecutor, and you got to give credit where credit is due.
These criminals use weapons or simulated weapons. They use intimidation techniques to take this merchandise. In each of these acts, they take just a little bit away from our peace of mind, for our sense of safety in the community, and our sense of security when we want to go out and do shopping at our retail communities. The Los Angeles Police Department will not tolerate these acts. We will not stand by idly while these acts continue, and neither will our law enforcement partners or the city.
Look, I absolutely love it. I'm on board for it. Now, would I rather have the other guy in the position that Karen Bass is in right now? Yes, 100%. That has not changed. There are other policies that I have issues with in terms of the Bass administration, but I got to give credit where credit is due. I don't think I ever actually said that I believed that she was going to go in the direction of Brandon Johnson, but I definitely thought it. I definitely thought they went with the worst candidate. I definitely thought that she was going to ensure the destruction or the further destruction of Los Angeles, but I've been pleasantly surprised by her performance on this issue, and you got to give credit where credit is due. And when you have doubts about somebody, when you think that they're going to do the wrong thing, when you expect the worst, and they come out and surprise you, they're deserving of praise. I don't care what party you are. I care about the policy. If Kathy Hochul decided to turn on bail reform, guess what? I would be on board for Kathy Hochul in that regard, even though I wouldn't support her overall in the state of New York. So Karen Bass, you have my praise for this. I'm really hoping you stick to it. I'm really hoping the arrests come. I'm really hoping we see that these tough on crime policies actually work, because unsurprisingly, if you catch these crews, these organized retail thieves, and you catch the repeat offenders and you incapacitate them, you will see that it works. It's really nice to see somebody look directly in these idiotic progressives' face and tell them, no, you're wrong, you're incorrect, we're not going to do that anymore, that's stupid. And I think this is largely due to the fact that Karen Bass knows that her political future is resting on it. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on my social media. Support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about Karen Bass, at least making moves to do the right thing. Till next time.